for this very important program. We are coming out of a very, very busy week. As government, we continue to manage the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact across sectors. This situation is dynamic, and various government agencies are fully engaged in the enforcement of the protocols, as our paramount interest remains the safety of every Dominican citizen. I take this opportunity to once again commend all public officers who are working diligently to manage the situation and prevent any further COVID-19 infections here. I also wish to thank the public for cooperating to a large extent with the guidelines and protocols in place to protect the population. However, we have noted areas of concern with people's attitude to safety during this pandemic, and I wish to address some of those concerns on this evening's program. We will, of course, speak to other issues relevant to national security. I have invited the Honorable Reverend Blackmore, Minister for National Security and Home Affairs, the Chief of Police, Mr. Daniel Carbon, and Deputy Chief of Police, Mr. Lincoln Cobbett, to speak with us on this edition of Anupali. Of course, we welcome your calls, number 225-3400 and 611-3400. Gentlemen, welcome. Chief Carbon, Deputy Chief Cobbett, my friend Blackmore. I couldn't call you Blackmore, that's right?
That's cool, man. I want love.
Yeah. Chief, how long you been in the force?
January next year will give me 36 years.
36 years.
I joined in the 16th of January 1985.
95.
Yes,
But I mean, you're from Bakers, I know you, and I know you were always a bright student, from primary school to PSS in these days, and I also know that you have excelled in the police force as well, in a number of courses here and externally, and you have really rose to the ranks up to chief. And I must say to the public that I did not give my approval to Mr. Carbon as chief of police because he was a Bakers. He was able to be appointed based on merit and his seriousness with which he took his job. Some people may not like him, but they will always say that he has been a very diligent police officer. So welcome to the program, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Of course, Deputy.
Yes, sir.
How long yourself?
30 years.
30 years.
I was enlisted on the 1st of March 1990.
Yeah, so you followed the footsteps of my friend, it is his father. So,
Yes.
yeah, excellent. And you've been deputy how long now?
About 1 year now.
1 year.
I acted about 6 months before that, but 1 year appointed.
Yeah, and people know you as a no-nonsense disciplinarian.
You can say that.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
And of course, the big Blackmore.
That's himself.
Welcome. Nice to have you there. I'm sure the whole of the Mao constituency is watching. I mean, you have been the steady hand in the Ministry of National Security for some time now.
Thank you.
And of course, you've been a former police officer. A lot of people, there's some people who do not know the Blackmore. Blackmore is one of the, in my view, one of the most organized parliamentary reps I've known, and I know, and very concerned about the welfare and well-being of the ordinary folk. Always very forceful in his representation in the cabinet, and so it's always been a pleasure to work with him in the cabinet and also as Minister of National Security, and I have the greatest of confidence in his abilities. And so welcome to the program, Blackmore.
Thank you very
much. And of course, we'll have the opportunity to converse on the issue of national security. But how's the Mao constituency these days?
Well, thank you very much, Prime Minister, and good evening to all our wonderful listeners. And of course, persons from the best constituency on Ireland, the Mao constituency. There's no other constituency as diverse, and dynamic, and exciting as the Mao constituency. I think just like every other constituency, Mao constituency, which encompasses a very large space, and was severely impacted by Hurricane Maria. And what that did for us is allowed us an opportunity to rethink our developmental direction as a constituency. And so what I did, I brought together the best minds in the constituency with the view of putting in place a holistic plan that is responsive to the needs of the constituency. We had the likes of Sobas Esprit as chairperson, Honorable Castanil Avil, and other persons for the constituency. And what we did was to consult with all the different portions of the constituency to get a sense as to how they want to see the community 3-5 years from now, drawing from the resilience that we speak about. So we look at opportunities, needs, and of course, and potentials. And I want to start with the needs because we cannot speak about everything tonight. And the needs of the constituency largely housing. And we were able, because of your good self, Honorable Prime Minister, and on behalf of the entire constituency, I want to really express my gratitude to you and that of the cabinet, and I'm very much genuine about it, because we were able to replace over 300 roofs in the constituency, and we built 41 houses.
300 roofs.
Yeah, and then we're still short by about 7 houses, but I think with time we're going to actually complete those houses. So currently we have a situation whereby we're constructing an apartment type structure unit for 30 families, and it's almost complete. We're hoping PM by this month end we can hand over the keys to those people. And we are also talking about resettlement, people of Campbell, hardworking people, and they are placed in a situation where, and I can recall PM in I think it's 2007 thereabout, when you came to Campbell and you said to the people relocation was the best, and at the time the people thought that you were not making sense, but now we are seeing the reality of it all. So we're hoping that by next year we can start the actual relocation of these people gradually. It's a huge community, so we're thinking of looking at the first 25 vulnerable families. And then we're also looking at Massa.
And then they will be relocated to Warner.
Warner right now is the best place on the island. There's no other place like Warner right now. Everybody wants to come to Warner to live. So the people of Campbell will be moved to that location and gradually. And also we're also talking about Massa in terms of housing. The good thing, PM, we did a survey in each of the communities, so I know everyone in the constituency was in need of a house. So we have that information. So we cannot do everything at once, but we're hoping, and I know you have already given the green light for 40 houses in Massa and 70 in Canefield, and we're also looking at the other areas like Taro has a serious housing need, and Layo Park. These people they came from Granby. Historically they're from Granby, and I can recall that I came to cabinet and made a case for them, and we were able to actually acquire the land because of your intervention on behalf of the people of Taro. So housing right now for us is our greatest need. We're also looking at health, and then this is an excellent facility. It's complete. And Maho Center. And then we're talking about own pharmacies, best overnight, living quarters for the nurses, and so on. What we're hoping to do, PM, and I know you came there with me, is to build a road from Back Street into the health center, because most of the people with underlying conditions are the older people, and it will be a tremendous challenge for them to walk up to the hill to go to Maho. One of our biggest needs right now is the school. And the school, PM, honestly, the school cannot be repaired. This school is going to fall on the heads of our teachers and our students if anybody try to repair the school. Yeah, as I said, I don't want the school.
Yeah, I agree that. I know we have some funds for the repairs, but I believe if we're going to do anything at the Maho Primary School now, it should be a new structure that should be built for the next 30, 40 years. To put new concrete on old concrete is not going to be the solution to the problem.
PM, I have a concept in my head, a nice L shape, and to relocate the basketball court to the southern end, and it's going to be the most spectacular school on island, the most modern school.
I had a B shape for Blackmore.
No, well, you see, it's not about me. I mean, I represent the best people on island in my constituency.
And of course, we facilitate a number of students for the university.
Yes. Last PM, again, people don't realize that. I mean, with my intervention and with your good self, we actually had 83 people from our constituency. I don't know, there could be more, but my own intervention and with your help. And as we speak, we have a number of students continuing. And we have, let me say, I want to say good afternoon to Mistress Bellingham and Mr. Bellingham, who's up is from Penville. Of course, the daughter placed number 1 on the national examination. Of course, in Mao we have the smartest people, and so congratulations to her. As I said to her, PM, I don't want an ordinary laptop. I want an Apple.
An Apple for?
Well, yeah, I didn't want. So we're also looking at 302 students who go to high school to ensure that every one of them has a laptop. And thanks to you again.
301 students?
302.
22.
And high schools. We're qualified to have our own high school from our constituency. We have the numbers, And the last census in 2011, between Mao and Belfast, we had 2,000 and 2,000 plus people. That's why it's absolutely important to build a new school in Mao. I mean, I really have to express my gratitude to the teachers in the small, condensed community center. And it's totally not right at all.
But thank you. I suspect we may have to have you on to speak only about my whole constituency, because
I'm not speaking about Kennyfield because we have we spoke about housing.
Yeah.
But we think, and I think, that Kennyfield offers the best opportunity for to be a commercial center in Dominica. It's ideally located. The land is there, and most of the land is government-owned land. And I think Kennyfield is the place to have this commercial center, the hub. And I've not spoken about fisheries yet. And because the plan that we have speaks about organizing an anchorage in Mao to have boats coming from Guadeloupe and Martinique. And of course, we have the most fish on the island, because we have actually bought some outbound motors for the fishermen, fired. So fish all over the place, and because of course of the intervention of the Labour Party. Yes,
thank you very much. Of course, there's a lot more to talk about. But we've been confronting COVID-19 effectively from March. We started planning January, February, but effectively from March we started confronting COVID-19. And the police play a very critical role in that whole process. Because they require to be part of the training, required security, the quarantine facilities, at the isolation unit, at the various ports and so forth. What is your assessment of the performance of the police in that period?
I think I'm a very hard grader. I think the police has been exceptional. And because it is quite important to make a transition from the traditional task to actually trying to prevent and maintain and contain one of the deadliest virus since 1918 that they will have seen. And I think they demonstrate the highest degree of devotion, first to the duty and to the country. Bearing in mind that they themselves are exposed to this virus. For matter of fact, we had a very unfortunate situation when we had, I think, 30 officers had to be isolated. In Portsmouth. I spoke to all of them, but it was very, very challenging for the police force. And so I think the police has done well in the circumstances, and they continue to do well, because you'll appreciate to set up roadblocks and to man roadblocks, not knowing the person you're going to confront, whether the person is infected or not, calls for a lot. So I think, in a nutshell, I think the police has done well thus far.
No, Chief. How do you define the role of the police in our country's response to COVID-19? And how were you able to engage all of your men and women in that fight?
Well, so let me say, firstly, that the police performed exceedingly well. It was an excellent performance. We had to operate under a state of emergency. And with that, there was a curfew. And the very first thing that you must address is your manpower. And so we had to call everybody back who was on vacation leave. And I must say they cooperated. Those who were on island returned. In situations like this, the police, they understand the role that they have to play. They took that COVID-19 disease very seriously. We develop our own protocol, and we also follow the protocol of the Ministry of Health. We provided the men with all the necessary resources. They had masks, they had gloves, we had sanitizers, and we still have quite a bit in storage. And I must say that the police cannot operate without motor vehicles. And I must say thank you to the government. You mandated that the police had enough vehicles that they could do the work, and the Cabinet Secretariat assisted us. We had about 55 vehicles to ensure that we do what we had to do. We did patrols 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Non-stop patrols, continuous patrols, night and day. We had concerns with our borders. We had patrols. We do robust, unpredictable patrols on land, on sea. We had checkpoints in strategic areas, very important areas. And to a large extent, I believe that the public itself cooperated a lot and they helped us tremendously.
Thank you. Now, Deputy, I mean, you were largely the voice of the police during this period. I mean, you were part of several briefings. Can you talk to us about the systems that were put in place to protect our citizens, our residents, our country?
Thank you very much, Mr. PM. When the Minister of Health in March of 2020 announced our SRO number 13 of 2020, we immediately went into action and we activated our major disaster plan for focus on assisting the Ministry of Health in stopping the spread and preventing the spread of COVID. And our mission really was to secure our borders, as the Chief mentioned. We set up also checkpoints. We did security at the various quarantine sites and patrols throughout the island. So that's how we were able to set up. And as the Chief mentioned, we had no issues really. The men cooperated nicely. All of them came back to work. Nobody reported sick and mass.
Because men had to be reassigned.
That's correct.
You had a special unit dealing with this. You were stationed at Portsmouth, in addition to the men who normally at the Portsmouth police station.
That is correct. We had a team of men, about 20, up to 30 men at one point at Portsmouth, because that's where we had all the people being quarantined, and the COVID hospital. So it was quite tasking for the men. But we got through, and with the help of God, although one of our officers became ill in the process of working, but he recovered quite nicely.
Yeah. And I must say that though most of us were, all of us in the country were scared of COVID-19. I mean, I was able to visit the site down there a couple of times and meet with the men, and I found them to be highly alert and highly diligent in their task. I think it has to do largely to your leadership and to the commitment to the men there. Now, this police officers have to be taken away from their homes. They have to be reassigned to other areas. No, Deputy, I mean, how did they respond to the challenge?
Initially, the men were a bit skeptical. We had never seen such a virus like this. Well, the last time being 1918, none of us were alive. And they were a bit skeptical and fearful, I would say, for themselves and for the family. But they were reassured that we would have taken all measures to protect them and the families. And as the Chief alluded to, we bought quite a bit of supplies, PPEs and disinfectants and alcohol, and they were able to use that to function effectively. But so we had no issues, and they took on the challenge head on, and they did what they had to do.
And of course, as the Minister indicated, we got a scare when about 30 or so men had to be quarantined and tested.
Well, that really happened because of one officer who contracted COVID, and it's a big scare because he worked at the Special Services Unit.
Yeah.
But we took preemptive action and make sure anybody he came close to, or we thought that he came close to, was isolated. So we took no chances.
Now, with all of what the police has to deal with, now we have more villages and more communities than we had 10 years ago. People building homes in every economic because the road network has improved, people have access to water, electricity, telephone, cable, etc. you also have the challenge of illegal entry into the country, and especially during this time. What is the status of this illegal entry in the country?
We take that very seriously. The police take the violation of our borders very seriously. As we speak, we have, and that is in collaboration with the customs, we have men deployed at a particular area on island to respond to issues of illegal entry. I must say though that I do not want to particularly mention a particular Caribbean person in relation to that nationality. Illegal entry has been happening in Dominica for many years now. Even long before I was a police, I've been hearing stories of people coming in from the French islands, Martinique and Guadeloupe and Marigal and Bagdo, and issues of smuggling. But we are addressing it. We're doing our patrols. The Coast Guard is on the waters every day and every night. The men are very committed. They understand what we have to do because, as we all know, that COVID-19 disease is a very deadly disease. We had our first scare. We had 18 cases and everybody has recovered. Everybody has recovered. We do not want that coming back to our country, especially through the back door. Because when it comes through the back door, it puts all of us at risk. Everybody's at risk. If it comes through the all legal port of entry, we can control it. But when it comes through back door, you don't know who have it, where it goes, and what can happen. And so that is why the police take it very seriously. We do all what we have to do to ensure that.
There are some people who were intercepted. The matter was taken to court. What is the status of this?
We have 42 of them as we speak in custody, and they are to be repatriated on Tuesday morning. First thing Tuesday morning, they are going back from Wednesday came. It has gone through the court. It has gone through the High Court. Not the Magistrate Court. It has gone through the High Court. And the judge has put a ruling, and all the 42 must go back to their country from Wednesday came.
And since our briefing on Monday, Deputy, have we made any further arrests?
We have not made any further arrests, but we are still actively out there working, but we have no further arrests. But just to go back on the question a bit, I think one of the issues that we face with illegal entry, because the ports in Guadeloupe and Martinique is closed, and we all know of the influx of cases, and a lot of cases in Guadeloupe and Martinique, a lot of our citizens are trying to come back home.
Our citizens?
Our citizens. In fact, we've intercepted 22 people, and of those, only 3 of them have been foreign nationals. So 19 of our people that have been arrested and taken before the court for illegal entry. And that's the 19 that we know of. And what is more disturbing that some people who went up legally, even for medical treatment, actually came back for the back door.
Well, what we have said to our citizens and even non-nationals, I mean, if you are stranded in any other countries, reach out to the government. In Guadeloupe, there is a consulate. You could go there, inform them that you are stranded, and we, the government, can find ways of facilitating the person's entry. So we could authorize a boat to come in, but come in through a legal port. We also have a consul general in honorary consul in Martinique. You can also do this. And you can also inform the Ministry of Health on the online registration form. Look, I'm in Guadeloupe, I am stranded, the police are still closed, or they could come home, it's an emergency. And if we will facilitate, because the concern for us is obviously the national security issue, but also a health issue. That if somebody were to come into Dominica of 5 or 6 people with COVID-19 and they go into those villages, nobody knows they're there, you can understand the challenge. You're going to have community spread. And then what the country has to avoid at all costs is another closure of the economy. So we prefer not to have to arrest anybody. You know, that's not the, we're in, and people who come to our country, we welcome them, but let us follow the laws as they are. No, Minister Blackmore, what is the law in instances of illegal entry? What does the law say?
Well, as the Commissioner Bush rightly said, coming to the country illegally has been a historic thing. What we have seen over the years is that it has actually graduated from the mere country ban, the beginning of rum and codfish and those, to a well-organized enterprise. So because our immigration law is kind of old, in 2003, Act number 19, by way of an amendment, was made to give some more teeth to the immigration law in terms of illegal entry. So on this section 27A, subsection 1, anyone who enters to a port that is not approved, or a port that is not otherwise an approved port, commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to $5,000 or 1 year imprisonment. The other issue that is even more serious and has implication for us with our friends is the one of human trafficking. And that same amendment also addresses under section 25B that anyone who assists anyone to enter or leave Dominica in any unlawful manner commits the crime of human trafficking and is liable on summary conviction to $100,000, or I think is 7 years imprisonment, or both. So the law is very stringent, and I'm not sure why people want to risk, going to jail or being fined $100,000 for committing a crime of that magnitude. Even likewise, it's also an offense to leave the state from a port that is not approved legally. So that's also an offense. So the law in itself addresses in very stringent manner activities like that of human trafficking. And I wanted us just give some further amplification to human trafficking within the context of our laws. Because when you hear human trafficking legally, it speaks to the trafficking of underage children for sexual exploits or...
But that's not the case.
So that's not the case.
That's not the case here.
No, it's really more or less for transportation, illegal migration, so to speak. I wanted to say that.
Now, in all of this, the Coast Guard is very important in this. How are we ensuring that the Coast Guard is equipped enough to play its role in securing our borders? Because, we're surrounded by water.
You're right. Our greatest challenge in terms of our border security is one of maritime. Because the bulk of the drugs and illegal farms and human trafficking, those activities are actually carried out on our seas. So therefore, we need a Coast Guard department that is well trained. And I must say, the officers in the Coast Guard are well trained individuals. They're trained in a variety of skills, engineering. Some of them are electricians. They're trained in electronics. And these guys are just fantastic. So in terms of the human resource component part of it, they're well trained. The other aspect has to do is over the years, in 2007, we invested in actually buying a Coast Guard boat. But it's a service time. I don't want to say the number of boats we have now for apparent reasons, because people are listening. But we intend to invest in a water platform with tremendous capabilities, radar, and the ability of the police officers to spend a week or two on water. So what happens now, the criminals monitor the police. So you need to have the element of surprise, where the officers can spend time on the water, and that boat we're thinking of will be able to detach an interceptor while at sea, and to actually deal with the culprits who actually want to violate our laws. The other issue has to do with the infrastructure in terms of the jetty. And as we speak, we have, of course, free estimates, and we have been able to identify where the money is going to come from to actually repair the pier itself. We have estimates in the region of $1.2 million to actually do that. So that is something we're looking at. So in terms of investing in our assets, namely our boats, etc., the training of the men, and having a better pay. And the other issue that we have been looking at is to have some kind of presence in the north, because a lot of the activities that we're talking about, because of the proximity of some of the French territories, actually take place in the north. So we have to provide proper oversight in terms of security and manning our waters in that part of the island. Okay. Yes.
No, well, the funds that you referenced are available, so
yes.
It's available to be spent to help repair the pier. The numbers to call 225-3400 and 611-3400. 225-3400 and 611-3400. Now, Chief, let's talk about crime in general. What successes have we had, in respect to fighting crime in the country?
Our police force has been regarded as one of the best forces in the region. We have been reducing our crime rate year by year. In 2018, we had the least amount of crimes in 20 years, both serious and some minor matters. In 2018, indictable offenses that we refer to as very serious crimes, we had 926 serious crimes. And in 2019, so far, we had 870 serious crimes. Yes. Summary matters, simple matters.
Chief, hold on, let's take a call. Hello? Welcome.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
Yes, PM, this is Claria Prosper. I'm calling from Emsal. Hello?
Yes, we're here. How are you?
Yes, not too bad.
Good.
I've been living in Emsal for the past 24 years or so. And I have my garden, and they've been stealing my plantains all the time. And I've made several reports, and I never saw a police come to my place to investigate. Sometime earlier this year, they stole my pail of soap powder my cousin sent for me from Canada. They stole my mop and my bottle of fabric softener. I did not even bother make a report because it doesn't make sense. So Mr. Carbon and Mr. Cobbett, do something about that for me, please.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
And PM, I would like to see you.
I know. I thought about you some time ago. I'll come to see you sometime.
And I had a dream. I will talk to you about it when we meet.
Sure. That's my cousin.
Yes.
From Vegas.
Okay.
Thank you. God bless you, darling.
Thank you. And I'm praying for you always. I'm still reading my rosary. You know that.
I know for sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So we have taken note of the report, and of course we will follow up on this. But predatory larceny is a major challenge in the country.
Sure.
So,
It is.
it's a major challenge. Yeah. But Chief, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Crimes that are of greatest concern to us, we have the issue of gun crimes, murders. Last year, we had 10 murders. In 2018, we had 11. And so far this year, we are 10. We also have concerns over robberies. That too is of very serious concern to us. 2018, we had 69 robberies. And 2019, we had 86. So we had a slight increase in robberies. Sexual offenses kind of prevalent. We've been investigating those offenses very seriously, and I can see almost every report we get in that regard. It goes through due process. I don't know what
That's something that
that is something we have to pay attention to, sexual offenses.
No, the issue of, I mean, clearly, crime is a societal challenge, a societal problem. Sorry, call please. Hello? Good evening. Okay, we lost this caller. No, we all recognize that crime is a societal problem. And therefore, the society has to play a role in one, preventing crimes, reducing or eliminating crimes, and helping the police address these issues confronted. How can the community better assist? I know we've spoken about community policing many times. Many times we brought in experts. We assigned a senior police officer to head that unit. How has it been working? I mean, do you think that it can play a role?
Let me say that the police alone cannot find crimes. The police will be very successful in addressing the crime matters in close and only in close partnership with the community. The community out there has a lot of resources.
Sorry, Chief, 1 second. A call, please. Hello? No? Go ahead.
If you do not have a community that supports you, that work in close partnership with you, you'll have a serious hurdle in fighting crimes. The intelligence base is in the community, and that is very important. In following your preemptive measures to prevent crimes from happening, and secondly, when it happens, to detect it. The information is out there. It is in the community. Apart from sharing information and sharing intelligence, the police themselves must get closer to the community. And I've always been saying that. You must know who your leaders in your community are. You must have a good relationship with your schools. You must be in close contact with your pastor, your priest, your religious people, the business community. And the police must, that's how you're going to build your confidence. That's how the public itself is going to have confidence in you when they see you. You cannot build a partnership by staying in and withdraw. The community must see you. You must work in uniform. You must be there, build a relationship, build a good partnership with the community. We've launched community policing. The government have assigned to us a consultant, and I also put in place a coordinator. That I must say was going very well until COVID struck. Because the consultant was doing a very good job alongside the coordinator and the management and administration of the force. It was working well, but he had to travel. He's now in England.
He's stuck there.
Yeah, he's stuck there, and I think he left somewhere in May. He left in May, probably even a month before that, on his personal and important business. But I hope he comes back. I hope he comes back pretty soon, and then we can.
Yeah. Now, Deputy, police normally get involved in traffic checks. You check for vehicle licenses, insurance, and also personal driver licenses and so on. People have complained to me. I receive a number of WhatsApp messages every time the police is doing this. We'll call her. Hello?
Hello, good night.
Hi, good evening to you.
Yes, my PM, my handsome PM.
Thank you.
And I love my dimples. I always send kisses for my dimples.
Thank you.
All right, I want to commend you on a job well done. PM, you are a good leader. Hold on. Be strong. The way you look after the elderly. You put a roof over people who have no roof. God is with you. And I want to commend the Commissioner of Police and his team. Commissioner, yes, you are doing a good job, you and your team. May God continue to bless you. And hold on. Be strong. Don't give up. You are a good soul there, and you're doing a good job. Thank you. May God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you too. Now, Deputy, I was saying that people complain about the inconvenience of the time. Why do we have to check for these vehicle licenses and insurance?
There can be no good time to do a traffic check, really. No good time. No matter what you do, people are going to be inconvenienced. But it's critical that we do that. For one, you can well understand if a vehicle is not licensed and insured, or not insured, and you do get involved in an accident, and somebody got injured, somebody like broken or some serious injury, how are you going to compensate the person? That's a big question. So we actually do these traffic checks randomly, we should say, and from time to time, to ensure that people are complying with the law. I know it's very inconvenient, but throughout the world, wherever you go, all officers, the police officers, do traffic checks.
And sometimes you don't charge people really.
No, not most of the time. If we think we're convinced that you're on your way to pay, the law actually gives you that leeway to pay your license. But we are very hard when it comes to insurances. We do not take chances with insurance at all. We don't give a break. We may very well take your motor vehicle and ask you to go and pay your insurance.
Okay. 1 second. The telephone. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. I'm wondering what is the situation with the illegal guns, the illegal gun situation in the country now?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, caller. So we will come to this question in a while, Chief, on illegal guns. You referenced it earlier in your response. So you believe that it is absolutely necessary?
It is.
The cooperation and understanding of the public in that?
It is. And
so if somebody gets to work late, then you get into an accident and you don't have insurance, you don't have a license, somebody gets injured, person has to seek medical care, the insurance is not paid, then you can't provide any medical insurance for that person.
Yes, exactly. That's the point. And you can well understand if a person got a serious injury, they'll just be there suffering. So,
So it must be done. Chief, you want to do a quick response to this question, caller?
Yes, sir. Of the 10 murders I mentioned that we have had so far, 5 of them are gun-related. I don't want to instill fear into the public, but we all know that we have quite a bit of illegal firearms on island. We've been doing a number of searches. Some of our searches are intelligence-led, and we do it through our own thinking. There seems to be a difficulty in recovering these firearms. We carry out searches at night. We do vehicle checkpoints. We do home searches. But for whatever reason, we just cannot find and seize these firearms. And here lies the reason why we should have a strong intelligence base in the community. Because people know where the firearms are.
But Minister Blackwell, the law is very stringent on this. We went to Parliament some years ago,
I think
and made some serious amendments.
2011, I think, we went and so the laws as it pertains to illegal firearms very much stringent. It makes provision for fine and confine. And just last year, just to respond to what the chief rightly said, last year the police recovered something like 14 illegal firearms. So the police has been going at it. But I think we have been looking, Honorable Prime Minister, as you know, at the current legislation to make it a little tighter. And I know the courts do not like the idea of not giving the court latitude. So if somebody is caught with an illegal firearm, we're saying that you go straight to jail. And
we've tried amnesties before.
Yes.
They've brought in someone not anything significant.
That is correct. For the past couple of amnesties we have, it has not been successful.
I know this gun thing is a regional challenge.
Yes.
We get this reports all the time.
That is correct. We have guns coming in illegally through the back doors. We have guns coming in through our ports as well. Yeah. And so we're working on it. And I must say we work in close partnership with the US. They assist us in that regard as well, sharing intelligence.
If you permission.
Sure.
The other issue is that we find what's happening, a major challenge is that a lot of the illegal firearms are coming in from our legal ports. And then you can go to a gun show in America and buy a firearm. So you have found it happens in Barbados, in Dominica, The persons go and they buy firearms at gun shows, and then the firearm comes from legal ports. So it's a tremendous challenge. But I wanted to already commend the police because even last year, out of the 10 murders, I think 6 involved firearm.
Yes.
But the police actually detected
8
was able to solve 8
8 of the
out of the 10 murders. And that's among the highest in the Caribbean.
Phone call, please. Hello.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, Mr. PM.
Good evening to you, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Corbett and Mr. Carbon and the listening audience. I just called to give you support, for all the hard work you are doing for us. And people don't know the kind of thing you're going to run that liquor, Yeah. And Mr. PM, I want to thank you very much for making the Kota Road.
Okay.
And when we're going to see the road going to Malvida like the waterfall?
I have to do the Tibo Gombe section of the road first.
Yes.
So
Okay.
once that is done, I will do this other
What about
roads.
what about the side road too now?
All of these things will come after the Tibo Gombe road.
Okay.
Yes,
Then.
setting priorities
I'll
straight.
try to come to see.
All right, no problem, my friend. God bless.
Okay, have a
Take
good
care.
evening.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we have the vending taking place, Deputy Chief, on the roads or sidewalks and so on. I mean, that is the livelihood of many of these people who are selling this. I mean, that's where they have. I mean, we can't afford rent and so on. How are we trying to find a balance between allowing these people to make a living, make a daily bread, as we say, and not impeding the free movement of people?
Well, as it stands right now, people can vend legally. That is vending of non-marketable commodities.
Yeah.
So stuff like fish and plantain and dashins should be vended at the Rosa Market.
Rosa Market.
So the other people really, they fall under the ambit of the
So the Consumer Police has in regards to fresh produce.
That's correct.
And fish.
Fresh produce.
Okay.
And we're seeing the market is big enough to accommodate everybody. Because during the COVID, when we were already cracking down on them, they had no issue. Everybody went to the market. Additionally, the government allowed additional space, on the bayfront. But for whatever reason, some people are stuck in the old ways, and they seem to come back to the, as you ease up, they come back to the old ways.
Shouldn't we engage these people and to see how we can...
We've engaged them, and we've been doing that. But it's like they're playing cat and mouse with you. So this week, you speak to them, they'll disappear, and no sooner they come back. Yeah. And what they're saying, they make more money on the streets of Roseau than in the market. Yeah. So it's a challenge.
That's the motivation there. No, Blackmore, we hear from time to time concerns by the police about the condition of work, where they reside as well. What are we doing to upgrade the work conditions of police officers across the island?
First of all, PM, the state by law must properly house every police officer. And what we have done over the years, we have seen post-Maria, we're able to actually totally rehabilitate Marigot. We were able to do Wesley is almost a new police station. Currently we're doing Delis and Castlebrus. And where we have situations whereby the police stations are either still damaged, we provide alternate residential accommodation for police of the highest standard possible. And we're also looking at Roseau, and that's the main operation arm of the police, to build a new building to house a minimum of 200 police officers. That design is complete, and we are getting, of course, the promise of actual funding for that. So we're looking at that. So it's an ongoing challenge that we have to address, and then we are trying our best to do so.
Yeah. No, they also have issues of salary and issues of, I know they had the issue of health insurance.
Yes. Well, I've always maintained PM, and the police chief is there. I used to be negotiating salaries for the police when I was there for a number of years. And as I've said, I want to reiterate for emphasis that no salary is enough to pay a police officer because of the nature of the job. But when you speak in terms of the salaries that are actually obtained in the public service, I do not think that the police salary is lower, so to speak. And I don't want to give all the details. For example, a police officer just entering the police force, just coming from training, makes $2,067. and then it moves to 3,079 thereabout. Okay, that's a police constable. That doesn't include, if he works in a specialized department, and allowances, etc. So a corporal makes, he starts at the minimum, at the maximum of a police constable, and his most salary moved to a range of 3,400 and something. As a corporal, salary. The sergeant, 3,004 to 3,007 plus. Okay, and then the inspector, 3,007 to 4,200 and something, to 4,261 thereabout. So an inspector gets a travel allowance and mileage, and from inspector to the rank of the deputy.
But the intention also is to look at the reclassification of the police service as well.
But I'm making a comparative.
Yeah.
So and then an inspector gets uniform allowance of 150 every month, up to the rank of commissioner of police, travel allowance, etc. So I wanted to say that. So if you work in a special department like SSU, you get a risk allowance. I think it's 450. Marine, the task force. You work CID, where I worked, you get detective allowance, playing close to 50 to 50. And then if you work in our station, you get $200. So it's not. It could be better, but in the circumstances, it's not bad. So I really hoping that young people out there who want to make police in a career can apply and join the police force. So
and then we have dealt with the health insurance issue.
the health insurance, I wanted to also make reference to that, because the law says, Section 10 of the Police Act, namely Form 1401, says that all police officers shall get free medical and surgical treatment, but it's subject to the regulation made by law. And that's why I read some years ago, some amendment was made to the law to give effect to a police insurance. The state pays, on average, $145,000 a month to meet that coverage for the police. And then for a family class, that's a husband, wife, it also makes provision for common law relationship. We're talking about $339 that the state pays for a police officer who falls within the family class, and $159 thereabout for an individual who doesn't have a child, etc. And if a police officer were to go to the doctor and the insurance doesn't cover the actual bill, the government is obligated by law to meet the excess. So I wanted to say that just for emphasis.
And the police training school, you've spoken about many times.
Well, we have an excellent design.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. and then it's I think it's absolutely important, because there is Prime Minister, and I have a serious concern about that, to training police officers and not including women. So as we speak, we have no accommodation for women, and that's unacceptable. So it's the police school.
The new designs,
we make provision for proper accommodation for women, because to have a disciplined police force, you have to have women properly and separately housed from the males, and because a disciplined force.
Yeah.
And then so that design has been complete. We're waiting for just a small little adjustment from the engineering aspect of it. As you rightly said, PM, we have identified the money for it.
Yeah. So the funds are available.
Yes,
Let's start with this. I understand you're waiting for the structural engineering to be completed. Mm-hmm. Once that is done, we can move the construction of this much awaited facility that will upgrade the training school and make it more accommodating for the instructors and, of course, the recruits themselves. So I'm very excited about that. Now, a decision was taken to increase the police numbers from 500 to 600. The 500 on the establishment, so now it is 600 in the establishment. What are we doing to fill those vacancies?
As you can recall, PM, that about 7 months ago, we saw the graduation of some police recruits. And then as we speak, we're going through the screening process to train a 50 batch.
About 50?
Yeah, and then what we're hoping to do is to rent a guest house, so we can also train police women. Because the current arrangement doesn't allow for women to be trained. And as I rightly said, we cannot build a modern police force with men alone. We must train police women.
So when do we expect to commence the training of the 50 people?
So far, I think the police have actually screened close to 59, 59, and then to enter the police force PM is the same requirement as the public service. You need to have a minimum of 4 subjects, English and maths included. And I think it's an excellent opportunity for young people to apply. So once you go through the process, you have to pass a medical, and you find most of the applicants, they do not pass the polygraphic test. For whatever reason, they just blow it. So we're hoping that the young persons is an excellent occupation. I was there, and that's the best job I ever had. So I think if you want to be, a strong individual, someone who takes life seriously, that's the best place to be. So we're looking for a PM to start the 50 officers to be trained, inclusive of women. Yeah, so.
Well, let's push not only to train these 50, but to train to fill the 100 vacancies, and plus, of course, people are retiring, people are moving on to other careers and so on. And so we need to move. We have the firm commitment of the Minister of Finance to get us going. Let's do what we have to do, and we have spoken about this already in the past. I'm sure that somebody who is listening from somewhere very close will be happy to hear about the move towards the filling of the vacancies. So I'm very happy for that. Now, Chief, we have been, it's a global thing, a Caribbean thing, talking about the decriminalization of certain quantities of marijuana, and down the road, the allowing marijuana to be used for medicinal, religious, and recreational purposes, etc. We have draft legislation in place. I'm hoping that we can go to Parliament in September to allow for citizens of age to be able to be in possession of about 28 grams of marijuana to be utilized for recreational religious purposes. Now, people started complaining to me that the police come and harass them at their homes. It's a two spliff, on the blanket or something. What do you do these days if you go to do a home search, or you stop at traffic and a guy has a little spliff burning and listening to Peter Tosh?
The police must be very tolerant, and must exercise a lot of discretion. You enter, to give a scenario, you enter into a home, and here is the Rasta man at his table. He and his wife, either married or common law, and he's there smoking a spliff and listening to his reggae music. Looking at, and we have to be guided by government's policy. We have to exercise a lot of discretion, and we have to be very tolerant in not processing this individual, because he's in the setting of his home, in the privacy of his home. So he has it for his social recreation. It could be for his medical use as well. What I would not advocate is the open abuse of marijuana.
So a guy smoking on a bus.
On a bus.
A guy smoking on a bus.
You come on the block and you're smoking on the block. You must take into consideration second-hand smoking.
Yeah.
It is as equally as dangerous as taking it yourself. So we have to take that into consideration. The users must exercise a lot of discipline and self-control. If you have kids at your home, and that is very important. Yes, he's your child, but she's below the age of 18. So when she grows up and she's 18 or he's 18, he can take his own path because he's an adult. But if you have a child that is below 18, and would you want to 3, 4, 5 children in your home, 5, 6, 7 years old? Would you want to openly use the marijuana in their presence? That is probably not an indoctrination you'd want to have for them. So all that you have to take into consideration. But we're going to exercise a lot of tolerance and a lot of discretion in that regard.
Deputy?
Now, in addition to what the Chief just alluded to, I think it's a very progressive move by the government, because what it does, therefore, it frees up manpower to focus on more important issues, or the hard drugs like cocaine and that sort of things, and focusing more on other areas of crime. But honestly, I have no issue with the issue of of men or people using cannabis. My issue would be trying to flaunt it in your face.
Yeah.
You know, like a puff in your face, that sort of thing.
But the law will
use it in
address
public.
this. The law will address this. The law will place conditions under which you can have it and make use of it. Certainly, we will not allow for it to be in an open space, in a bus stop, on a bus, or in a restaurant, in a bar. You know, if there are bars, there has to be bars designated for this, a smoking bar or something. You know, so we'll look at this. But I'm happy to know that the police is exercising discretion. I mean, as it is now, it's against the law to be in possession of it. But if a man is found with two speakers at his home, or he's driving and he's burning a fat man, you know, which is less than a few grams, you know. So I'm happy to hear this and so on. Now, what would be your final words, though, to the public in respect to their own responsibility and the role of the police and what you expect of them?
Let me first talk about the COVID pandemic. We're not out of the woods. And we as citizens of this country, we must always keep that at the back of our head, in our minds, that look, we have to be very responsible. We have to work with the Ministry of Health and work with the authorities to make sure that we prevent any case of COVID-19 being on Dominica. Listen to the police, listen to the authorities, follow the guidelines, and be compliant in all regard. As it relates to the police and the public, the police force is the leading law agency in the country. There cannot be a country without a police force. We had Dominica. Dominica, we all know from time, has been very peaceful and quiet. And we have, as citizens, we have to do all what we can possibly do to make sure that Dominica remains and keeps the image that it has as being a quiet and peaceful and law-abiding people. We will work with you. We'll respect you. We have to carry out our mandate as provided by law. We will do what we have to do because we have to do it. We have to be strong. We have to be robust. We have to do our patrols. We have to run our operations. We have to do our exercises, and you just be very tolerant with us. We know you understand our role, and I dare say I believe the citizens in Dominica here, they love their police. They love their police. Yes, the police force will have its issues. You're dealing with human beings. You know, policemen are not legal gods, but at least 98% of our officers are good officers. They have good intent. They love the public as well, and they want to make sure that Dominica remains safe. And so I'm looking for the further cooperation. I'm looking towards the community policing. I'm looking towards building a good partnership. And let us all enjoy Dominica. Let us all be lawful and understanding.
Thank you very much, Chief. Deputy?
Just to add to what the Chief had to say, we are not the enemy of the public. We come from the public, and someday we are going to return to the public. So really call upon the members of the public to assist us in doing our work, because basically we're helping you. We're hoping not too far from now that we can have the services of the consultant again in community policing, so we can get this thing going again, because really and truly that's the way forward for policing, community policing, where we build that partnership and a cooperation with the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister Blackmore?
Thank you, PM. Thank you very much, Commissioner Deputy. And thank you, PM. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful program. Just to say that, first of all, I owe it to the people in my constituency for allowing me the opportunity to represent them at the highest level. I just wanted to say, PM, just to the residents of Tekol, myself, we're in a bad state. We have the full estimates, and in due time we'll be addressing the road condition. Also, the focus in Despo, there's a section of the road that's very bad, and that too is down for repairs. I wanted to say that. I'd also say a special good night to all staff members of the ministry and the heads of the department and down to the cleaners within the ministry. When your time will come, when you have a time to actually speak about the department. So I don't want anyone to feel left out tonight, especially people on fire, etc., etc. I don't say it's only through a collective endeavor we can actually deal with the crime situation in this country. But the PM Dominica is still endlessly the most peaceful country in the Eastern Caribbean. I wanted to say further that I see something around the country that is very, very, very troubling to me. First of all, as a citizen, is the kind of loose behavior of Dominicans in light of this very dangerous pandemic. And I'm calling on the public to practice some discipline. And nothing wrong in going out and to your toes, but do not behave as if to say Dominica is COVID-free, because we have a responsibility to show respect for our life and safety and that of others. And to say for the PM that thus far, the ministry is happy to have been working in partnership with all the other line ministries to contain and to manage the COVID phenomenon in this country. Thank you very much.
Sure.
PM.
So thank you, and of course we'll bring you back, Honorable Blackmore, to our program Anupale, because we have the legal aspect, the reports to talk about, the fire and ambulance services that we have to talk about, and of course I would certainly like to engage you more on the Maho constituency. There are many things that are ongoing there and things that we need to do for these wonderful people in that constituency. Crime is something that we have to stem out of our country. We have to make sure our country remains peaceful. We respect each other's rights, and the Constitution makes provision for that. As Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, I will continue to provide the police with whatever resources they need to effectively carry the duties. But at the end of the day, the police can't do it alone. We can't blame the police if we do not cooperate with the police. We cannot blame the police if we don't provide the police with information. But I have been around the police for some time now, and I can say that we have some very, very, very good men and women in this police force, and the police force in general. We should all appreciate what they do. They're not perfect, like all of us are, but all of us are not perfect. But we have to just keep working with them and supporting them, and because they do sacrifice a lot to provide security for us. One way all of us are asleep, they're out there on the waters, they're out in the mountains, they're out in the streets, ensuring that we are safe. And the least we can do is to respect that and appreciate that. Well, I want to thank you, Chief Carbon, Deputy Chief Corbett,
thank you, sir.
And of course my friend and colleague, Honorable Blackmore, for accepting the invitation to be on the party. We'll take a break now. When we return, I will have with me Honorable Gregory Rivera, the Minister of State. Thank you very much. A short break. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marvin Daniel, and I'm a sustainable aquaculture specialist / farmer. I'm engaged in the production of freshwater shrimp at Brandy Settlement in Portsmouth. So the project started in 2017, where we went through a series of planning process. We have worked with the physical planning and the environmental health division to put the project together, and also to receive the approval to do such a project. After we got the approval, we constructed the 7 ponds. So we have the capacity to produce a minimum of 1,000 ponds in each pond. So we're looking at producing at least a minimum of 14,000 pounds of shrimp per annum. So we went to St. Lucia to obtain the post-larvae with the assistance of the Ministry of Agriculture. When we went to St. Lucia, we got it. We brought it in via the express, and we grew the post-larvae to adult shrimps. So at that point, we were not ready for the market as yet, because we were still going through an experimental phase. So we used the first batch to use at our national hatchery, which is now constructed at Jimit. So we are very happy for our hatchery right here in Dominica. This is a significant milestone for us. So I would like to thank the government of Dominica and the Ministry of Agriculture, and also the people that was directly involved. For example, Mr. Dorian Sanford and Kurt Hilton. Ms. Rosalind Paul for supporting the project. Also the PS Reginald Thomas, and also PS Esther Thomas. These people has really been supporting the project all throughout the process. And and this is why today I am at that advanced stage, getting ready to produce fresh shrimps for the hotels and the Dominican consumers.
I am Alec Athanas, and I'm from the village of Granby. I want to say that I am farming since 25 years, and that's a thing I keep enjoying. But since after Hurricane Maria, I had a loss of plants, and I had to restart. I always require to have a reasonable amount of plant, which at this time I don't have the amount I wanted. I had to, from what I had during the hurricane, I had to distribute and give to many farmers. Because why? I want some farmers to come on the line that they can have also. I do not want me to be the only farmer. And so I think in that, I do the tanya, I do the ginger, and I do the yam, I do plantain, I also do sweet potatoes, not even regular, but I do sweet potatoes. And I've been doing pretty well. So I think at that point, as this World Bank thing came up there, that was a brighten up for a person like me. That it enhanced me, that the tools I've gotten there, and the fertilizers and the chemicals is just going to brighten me a little more. So I just keep shopping up and planting and opening up the place. It's like life has come up to me. As I said one of those times, guys, like you were somebody, I was somebody drowning, and some hand just came out and took me from under the water and brought me forth and gave me life. And I saw that is what the World Bank has been doing for me personally. It has have me up, and in every area the World Bank looks into and to help the farmer. I am so pleased and so glad about it. So I just keep doing everything that I see possible to do. And the thing I have in focus, again, is to encourage farmers. If one farmer says anything bad, that this farmer is just a farmer by name, but not a real farmer, because you cannot say anything bad about that. No, you can't say that. I have said to you, it's exciting to be part of that and to know that the World Bank cares about people like that, in that category.
Welcome back. Last year, I welcomed into the Dominican Labour Party fold a dynamic gentleman, already well known on the national scene. Gregory Rivera, better known as Carissa, was selected to contest the Marigot constituency at the December general elections. He did not win, but he was named a senator and appointed Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, Economic Affairs, Investment, and Planning. I am pleased to say that he has since distinguished himself in his attitude to work and his output. And if you ask me whether I am satisfied, I am indeed satisfied with his performance thus far. Senator Rivera, welcome. Yeah. I mean, many hear you Senator Rivera and Honorable Gregory Rivera, but people know you as Carissa.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to the program. How are things?
Thank you very much, PM. Thank you for inviting me to what seems to be one of the most popular talk shows, especially on a Sunday afternoon. I'm very happy to be part of this program. Things are going fine so far. I mean, this transition is basically a continuation of my life.
Yeah. So I mean, you were a successful Calypsonian before coming to this. You know, I know you sang.
What was it? Rose.
Well, you sang many songs. You know.
Yes.
Rose gave me blows your shoe, and the Pastor's Rod, and the many exciting Ian Douglas and so on. But you participated in this year's Calypso competition. Is it something you're going to continue?
Well, you know, Calypso is really part of my life. I mean, the last time I checked the English dictionary, Calypso comes before politics. So it's really part of my life, and what I noticed, especially my transition into politics, I have gained some new fans. People like Mami is now one of my biggest fans. And those are people that I will not want to let down at all. So I think I will continue to make my contribution, especially around Carnival time. Of course, the lifetime of a Calypsonian is until death. I mean, people like Sparrow, 85 years, and still sings from his wheelchair. You know, fellas like Kitchen and those guys, they almost go to their grave from the Calypso stage. See?
But you also worked for many years at the Youth Division. When you resigned, you were the deputy chief there. That's correct?
Yeah.
And that's the first time I met you, you know, as Minister for Youth Affairs. Had a staff meeting and you were present. And I remember you lamenting about your non-appointment.
Yes, PM, and I think that is from that time I think the relationship grew.
Yeah.
I think that is a time when I really saw a different leader from what I've been told. I remember we having that meeting and you came down on the supervisors. Hey, you need to get the gentleman appraisal. And I remember getting that appraisal done. And the very same month, I got appointed in the public service. And because of that, I was able to tell a few of my friends the trick, which is to get your appraisal done. They too got the appraisal done and immediately got the appointments.
We will speak about the Marigot constituency later on, but how are things in Marigot then?
Oh, Marigot is pretty fine. The people are there, and I want to say good evening to the people of Marigot and Concord. Very, very ambitious people. Been getting full cooperation. Just recently had a very, very productive meeting with the village council. I have a scheduled meeting with the Concord Improvement Committee that is coming up. I met with a gentleman last night, a guy who actually has a complete development plan of Marigot. And we had some real serious discussion that I will talk about in a subsequent meeting.
Yeah, I have some very good friends in Marigot. I have Mr. Kenneth Samuel.
Oh, yeah.
Kenneth Samuel is really the one responsible for my attendance at secondary school. My class teacher was sick, and he substituted for the class teacher. And we were discussing global issues. He was asking questions about global issues. And he found that I could have engaged him on such issues. And so he left the classroom, went to his office, and he came back. And he told me to take my desk and my chair and come. You know, now, when Mr. Kenneth Samuel calls you, I mean, this guy was one of the disciplinarians. So I got scared, you know. And he took me straight to the common entrance class. And because he went and he saw my grades and he asked me, well, later on, how come I was not in the common entrance class? You know, so I owe a lot to him for being here, and he's looking out for me back in the days. You know, and I also have my dear Auntie Anaclet, a wonderful lady in Marigot there, and so many, my Davis and if I start calling names, I will call you half of Marigot.
And a number of them are listening now.
Listen to me there, you know, Mrs. Tong, you know, so many wonderful people I could call there, you know, and my friend Phoebe James, who is dead, you know, may soul rest in peace, and so wonderful people there I could call, and so on, and Brown Boy.
Yeah, that's on the hill.
On the hill there.
That's right.
Yeah, he has a shop there and so on. He still has a shop?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you talk about Kenneth Samuel, because I myself had an experience with Kenneth Samuel, but it was more on an employment level. I remember it was in September, the reopening of school, and I went to, somebody mentioned that they had some employment at the Will Stratmore Stevens School, so I was just going to make some message. I just went down. I mean, my little short pant, my little, how you call it, toeless?
Yeah. Toyota.
Suzuki. Yeah. And I went straight to Mr. Samuel's office. I said, Mr. Samuel, I heard that you have a job and I want to work. He said to me, yeah, we have a few there, but you worked before? I said, yeah, I had some experience. Apparently, I had some employment with the Bell School for 1 month. So I told him I had some experience. And he told me to come back tomorrow. And that's how I entered the public service.
Yeah, very good. But so, Honorable Rivera, you You're working you're the Minister of State, you deal with day-to-day affairs, ministerially with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. You know, what are some of the challenges you face? What are the exciting things you're doing there?
Well,
and I must tell the public you were very instrumental in the preparation for the budget, because Ministry of Planning has a very critical role, especially where the capital estimates are concerned.
Yeah, well, certainly. I mean, the thing is, we all came in very excited about this this whole movement. I think we had somewhere about 44 priority areas that we really want to focus on. But then here comes this COVID thing, and it really put a lot of things on the back burner. We had to really shift gears, and the Ministry of Planning, Economic Affairs was very, very instrumental in, first of all, participating in some of those consultations to make recommendations for some the concessions, some of the incentives that we provided to the people who lost their income as a result of COVID. We also played an important role, as you mentioned, in terms of putting the capital expenditures together. And we really had to do it in a different way, because we had to do it in a way that will reflect the current time, which is that of COVID. So if you look through the estimate, you'll realize that significant amount of resources was placed in like agriculture, because we figured that we need to invest, we need to put money in the productive sector. So you have agriculture, you had manufacturing, the construction sector, especially knowing that you had so much grant-funded line up there. We wanted to use the opportunity at this time to try to utilize those funds as much as possible. And we recognize too that the Ministry of Planning has a very, very important role in terms of oversight of the PSIP. So we will be continually monitoring those projects so that we can see a better implementation rate at the end of the budget year.
Yeah, well, we have to work on this, because the more projects we can implement, the better for the economy and better for the seasonal Dominica. So you're going to have a critical role to play. I think that the calls are coming early. Hello, please.
Yeah, PM. Just calling to say good night and listen to your program. It's very interesting.
Thank you.
I would like to have a personal discussion with you, so I would appreciate if you could give me a call back later.
Okay, I'm sure we have your number and we will contact you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, God bless you.
Yeah, the other area, especially as it relates to the ministry, we are involved in a number of research. Because, you know, especially in a time like now where resources are pretty scarce, you want to make sure that you get value for your money. So in terms of our decision making, we want it to be data driven. So we have a number of areas that we are doing some research, doing some special studies, so that we can get recommendations moving forward. I think the best thing about the ministry is the staff. I mean, you really have some committed and dedicated people at the Ministry of Planning. I mean, people like Gloria, Joseph, the
Permanent Secretary.
Permanent Secretary, Dr. Kira Paul, very, very committed young lady. You have Heslin and Andrew, and so many more dedicated people. I remember when we were working on the budget, PM, all after 3 in the morning, we were actually texting one another, hey, what do you feel? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Should we increase that? Should we decrease that? I mean, talking about after 3 in the morning, you know? So I really want to commend the staff, the Ministry of Planning, Economic Affairs.
Sure, thank you. But, you know, we have to keep working together for the benefit of the people. Now, you are in effect the caretaker for the Margaret constituency. Yes, there's a member of parliament, but you're effectively caretaker there. Have you remained visible in that constituency?
Well, certainly, as caretaker, you do not only have to be visible, but you have to be accessible. Sometimes you can be very visible, but you're not accessible. So I try my best to be as visible as possible, but also as accessible as possible. So people would have my number, they would call me. There are times that I would go to the village. I would have meetings at the council's office, at the party office. People, many times when I go, you have like 10, 15 people line up waiting. There are times when we have to actually give numbers. People wanting to have some discussion with the caretaker. I also try to forge stronger alliance with some of the community groups, like the village councils and other parties, other agencies. So we continue to do our thing. There are times when if we have something to give out, I try to be there as much as possible. My presence in church, you know, so that is something that is ongoing.
Now we have spoken about the hospital before, and there was a lot of agitation in Marigot about the hospital and the need for a hospital. We had gotten commitment of some funds from the government of Mexico for this, and we decided that the design which they were presenting to us from UNOPS was not adequate, and also the funds would not have been adequate to build the entire hospital. So we decided to go a different route, utilizing the Citizenship by Investment program to finance this. We presented a plan late last year, a new design for the hospital. And there are many people who felt that it was a gimmick. They say Skerrit doesn't like Marigot people, so he would never give them that fancy hospital. And it's a lie, it's not going to happen. And wait and see when election come, nothing will happen. Is there a hospital being built in Marigot now?
Well, certainly, PM. I mean, and there's a massive structure going on in Marigot. I mean, I remember when we had discussion, when we had our first meeting, and I presented to you the plans that I would want for the constituency. And the Marigot Hospital was part of it. And I remember we sat down and we spoke about it. I remember actually looking in your eye and you said to me, we're going to build the hospital. So I left there with that commitment that the hospital is going to be built. And I remember going back to the village and people were in doubt as to whether or not the hospital was really going to be built. There was a gentleman who took one of the cards because we had some pictures. And he said, that is the only picture that I'm going to put on my wall because I know no hospital is going to be built. And every time I visit at home, that picture is on the wall and he's looking to see if certain aspects, certain features are reflected in the building that is being built at this point. So the people are very excited. As you rightly say, much has been said about the hospital. It's not going to be built, but we are happy that it's there. And it's not a Marigot thing, really. It's a hospital for the entire Northeast
Marigot Health District.
The Marigot Health District.
That spans from Carnival Territorial Coast to
Calibishi. No, and I think it is the largest single project on the Northeast in 50 years. Marigot Hospital. Talking about somewhere about 55,000 square foot of space.
But the improvement to the Douglas Chelsea was a massive investment as well. So money-wise, yeah.
Well, I said 50 years.
Yeah.
So I stand corrected. But just to say, Douglas Chelsea doesn't have 2 elevators. And we're going to have 2 elevators in this structure. And when we're talking about operating theater, we're talking about ICU, pharmacy, inpatient ward, E&E department, lab services, dialysis, X-ray. Talk about every service that you can basically get in the National Hospital, Roseau. That's it, Dominica China Friendship Hospital. You will be able to get that service at Marigot.
And it's being built with resilience in mind. It's a concrete roof, water storage tanks, etc., etc.
Everything is in order. And I foresee, well, upon completion, it will be fully equipped, and we will also have adequate staffing that will really help to, at the end of the day, the people in the Northeast will have plenty cheaper access to healthcare.
Excellent. And in addition to this hospital, a new health center has been built.
PM, you gave us a double bubble. I mean, not many constituencies that can talk about a hospital being built and a health center being built at the same time. Sometimes you have to build the hospital and wait a little while to get the health center. But as we speak, the health center is completed in terms of what we're really waiting for now is to outfit that health center with equipment and furniture. And I was told by the Ministry of Health that we do not want to take any old thing to bring in there. Everything has to be brand new.
And they've been ordered and they're on the way, so hopefully in September, God's willing, they can be here to be outfitted. Same to my own constituency as well, Vickers. No, the roads have been done there. Some roads were done in Marigot there. You had the dam bridge. Not using a follow.
You better be careful
actually
a place.
Yeah.
Well, I think we had the dam bridge was done, so there's no talk about dam bridge anymore. We also had work on the Overgutter Road was completely resurfaced. However, we have to do a little work as it relates to the drainage, but that is something that we can get done. We also started some work on the Valley Road. It's part of the community enhancement program, and we are hoping that by maybe towards the end of the first quarter, we'll see the completion of the Valley Road.
Yeah. And what about housing?
That is the area that we really need to pay attention to. We have had some investment in housing. I think recently we had about 500,000 for housing assistance that was distributed in the community. But we also had a very important project at the Sam's Gutter area, where we constructed somewhere about 13 houses with the assistance of Samaritan Purse. The government also contributed towards that. I remember at the beginning, when we negotiated the project, the people wanted to build some plywood houses. And we said to them, no, we cannot be talking about resilience and put plywood house in Sam's Gutter. So we decided that we were going to strengthen it by using the ply, but also using rabbit and spray. And the government decided to foot that bill, somewhere about $400 and something thousand. Some of the houses are not fully completed.
Second telephone call. Hello? Hello, welcome. Hello?
Hello, good evening, PM.
Yes, good evening to you, sir. Welcome.
Thanks for taking my call. As you all were talking about roads, I just want to remind us about the Paradis Road in Jodel. It's in a terrible state. So I hope we can get some assistance to have that road done, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. We'll take note of that. Thank you. Yeah. Now, you have the international airport that's coming to, it's not directly in Marigot, because but Marigot is in Wesley, Woodfordale area. Are you guys looking forward to that?
Well, anything in Wesley, Woodford, till Marigot.
Is Marigot.
It's Marigot, you know, because I mean, we share similar culture, Kokoya, we talk, you know, and even tonight, we on the Anupali program. You know, somebody may say, well, what is Anupali? Lawitak. Lawitak, you know. So we are very, very excited. As a matter of fact, although the airport is going to be placed in Wesley, but all the planes going to be banking over Marigot.
No, but the airport, I believe personally, and that, and I'm not saying so because I'm the Prime Minister of the country, but I believe this is our last opportunity for us to be able to have an international airport in Dominica. I mean, when we came in, we came in with no light landing. We had to introduce night landing in Dominica, expand the airport, build a new terminal building, effectively build a new terminal building. So the Douglas Charles really is a new airport that we've constructed, significant sum. But I believe for us to secure the future of Dominica and to sustain the investments that we have made in agriculture, in agro-processing, doing a small cottage type scale, and tourism, we need the international airport. There has been debates about this, but I believe that we need it absolutely. I am giving this a lot of personal attention to ensure that we can get it done. and I look forward to it starting, and I look forward to its completion. And I believe this would help transform our economy for the better. Caller, please. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Good evening. Welcome.
Yes, you can call me after the program, please.
I recognize it. I recognize your voice. Okay, no problem. I recognize your voice.
Call me after the program, please.
All right. Take care.
Call me, please.
Sure. No problem. Okay. Also, there'll be work done on the Marigot Fisheries Complex.
Oh, certainly. As part of the 2020-2021 estimate, we have secured somewhere about close to $29 million for work on the Marigot Fisheries Complex and the Roseau Fisheries Complex as well. That's a Japanese grant. It has been, things became a little slow because of COVID, a lot of travel restriction and so on. But as soon as things eased up, we should see work on the Marigot Fisheries Complex.
Yeah. One of the things that I want to commend yourselves for in Marigot is the way that the NEP people are working there. Mrs. Charles, who supervises, and the people who actually engage. I mean, I have certainly seen a transformation of Marigot with the presence of the NEP. Do you share those views?
Oh, certainly. I really want to commend people like Andrea Charles and Dayton Baptist. I mean, Dayton was one of the persons who initiated the program in Marigot. And I mean, in terms of the cleanliness of the constituency, I think that's going on well. We may need to strengthen it a bit in the Concord area. But I share those views. We have about 35 people under the NEP program in Marigot, and they're doing a tremendous job. The only thing is that a number of them are aged people, so some of the hard, manly labor tasks, they are not able to handle it. So we may have to have some improvement in that area.
Well, that's interesting you say, because I find they're doing a fantastic job. I give them A+ for that, for what they're doing, and if we can strengthen the team, then I am open to that. Now, do we provide support to students and for uniforms and books, back to school?
PM, even before I came in.
Yeah, 1 second, hold your thought there. Caller, please, hello?
Hi, PM.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, PM, I would like to, first of all, congratulate you on the success at the elections. And I see you don't have much gray hair.
Some of them are coming now. Yeah.
It's time that you know, us Dominicans realize that the kind of PM we have now is not of yesterday's. It takes hard work, and PM, you're deserving of everything good that we as Dominicans can wish for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to congratulate Caressa too on his well, not success, but his involvement in Marigot. I wish I had his number because I have some ideas for some calypsos. I know that's his bread and butter, among other things. So Prime Minister, I would really think that you have compiled a group of dedicated, talented additions to your government, and that speaks to your vision and your patriotic approach to the governance of our country. Let me say that I recall your willingness at all times to converse with the Lord, and that I think is very important. And I would invite Dominicans to follow your lead, and at least Laborites, especially Laborites, to continue praying for our government.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
So congratulations.
Sure. God bless,
yeah.
okay? Thank you, my brother.
I know.
Thank you. God bless. Yeah, Carl, so you say?
Yes, PM, we were talking about the
Education
assistance to school
Yeah.
and students. Certainly, I mean, just recently I was, maybe about 2 days back, I was looking at the figures. I mean, we've spent like $36,000 this month alone securing textbook for secondary school students. And I'm not even talking about primary school, that the books would go directly to the primary school. So we're talking about $36,000 for people just from the Marigot constituency alone. We had about 105 applications for uniforms allowance. And as you know, all our students are, in terms of transportation to secondary school, that is free. So the people from Marigot are indeed benefiting from the policies of the government.
Likewise, with regards to the Agricultural Livelihoods Project.
Certainly. I mean, we have like 100, presently, we have 135 farmers from Marigot in that program.
135?
135. I took my time and count every one of them. 135.
So this notion that nothing is happening in Marigot and this notion that people are not benefiting from the government's policies is not true then?
Oh, that's not true. Mr. PM, I mean, talking about the Agricultural Livelihood Program, I'm seeing people carrying, I mean, scores of bags of fertilizers. I mean, fellas don't even put those fertilizers in the shed anymore. They put that inside of the house. Yeah. I saw a guy with a van load of fertilizer taking it from his van to his drawing room.
And then we have the ESW care, the caregivers there. They're also senior citizens who receive care under the ESW care program.
Oh, certainly. We have about 19 people benefiting from the ESW care
19.
program. 19, sorry. 19, 19. 19 people benefiting under the ESW care program, and they're doing a tremendous job.
There's many more than my constituency, you know. All right. What are the other things you want to highlight to us? You want to draw to the public's attention now?
I want to talk a little bit about the public assistance, because, you know, there's a notion that because people are on public assistance, they have lost their independence. And I think it came out a little bit in the parliament by one of the senators after I laid Marigot record on the table. Currently, we have about 106 people on public assistance in Marigot. 138 non-pensionable allowance. And that to me is important.
Because people 70 and older?
Yeah, 70. Especially 138.
138?
138 people 70 and older. Now, when people level those kinds of criticism, it shows a lack of sensitivity.
They don't understand how people live.
To the elderly. And it shows that people are not on the ground.
And
I mean, I studied in Australia. And
1 second, Carousel. Hello, caller, please.
Hello, good night.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm calling for Bruce Roy.
Go ahead.
I want to contact with Mr. Carr. And also for the work that the government has done in Marigot.
Thank you.
But when we look at the location of Marigot and Refugees, I think we should consider development as the first term. And I think it should be that, especially with the airport.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. You say that we should declare Marigot a town.
Right. Yeah, so I was saying that I studied in Australia, and the amount of investment the Australian government put into its social services, the welfare service in Australia, in 2017, 2018, these guys spent $19.2 billion on welfare services, and that is 40% of their whole national budget. So it shows that, and bear in mind that Australia has a very aging population. So you have to take all those things into context. And
a call. Hello? Hello? Welcome.
Hello?
Welcome. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
I'm speaking on my father's behalf. So I'd like to know then how situation, what are you saying about it?
Well, it's not all you, darling. If you're a student, it's not all you, okay? What are you?
Right.
What is the government doing about it? Or not all you, okay? Let us speak correctly. We'll take note of this, and I'm sure we'll have a response at some other time for you on this, on the houses in Chance, okay? Chance, right? Chance. Thank you.
Chance.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, so we were talking about the
welfare assistance.
Yeah, the welfare system. So, I mean, for people to water down those programs, I mean, I cannot imagine what life would be if some people were not under the Yes We Care program for those people. I cannot imagine how some people, I mean, 70 years and over who worked all their life, and some of them who are not getting a social security, maybe sometimes not even because of their own fault, because maybe the employer did not make the payments, and those people have to live without a social security. Some of the families are not taking, and that is where the government comes in. And for people to criticize that, it shows a lack of sensitivity.
Yeah. What are the other things you want to highlight, Margaret? Some of the things that we need to do, that we're doing, that we intend to do?
Well, one of the things that I always like to work with my plan, and there are a number of areas that we have to give focus to. Housing is critical, and I will organize a bilateral so that we can actually discuss some of the needs, the housing needs in Maragat. There are some roads that are critical that we need to give. I mean, the Monkey Hill Road is a road that we really have to give some attention. The North End Road is another road that we have to give some attention. And there are many others, but we can always discuss that. The main road leading to the Douglas Charles Airport, what you find happening is that a number of companies, I'm not sure if it's the Wasco, they tend to be digging the road. And right now we have quite a bit of potholes going all the way down. But again, I discussed with the minister, Honorable Kasani, and he's going to put a team together to do some assessment. So somewhere by next week, so we should get that sorted out.
What about the Lio Park? Is the sports playing field area?
Well, you're picking my thought, PM. The Lio Park, and I really want to commend the Maragat Village Council. They are doing some tremendous work in terms of restoring the park. And even at the meeting that we had quite a bit of discussion around Lio Park. There's actually a comprehensive project to restore Lio Park. So what I said to them is that we may not be able to tackle the entire project now, but there are certain things that we'll be able to handle in terms of the restroom facilities, maybe covering of the house. Some of those things we can get them done. Those are what you call low-hanging fruits we can deal with. But not only Lio Park, we have the Wales Hard Court. That's the only area where people can play the basketball and the volleyball and so on. We need to also restore that. And of course, Concord Hard Court, that's another area we need to restore. But as I tell people, we can put all those facilities in place, but you haven't got the programs. They will just remain like white elephant. So one of my plans is to try to encourage the formation of clubs in the constituency. A cricket club, or a football club, or a rounders club. And let us start to get some exchanges within the entire district.
Well, I see you had a meeting recently with the village council, and you discussed those things with them?
Yeah. Some of those ideas were discussed. You know?
Yeah, we have a telephone call. Hello, please.
Comrade Leader.
Good evening to you. Greetings.
Greetings, Comrade. I just keep wondering why. Comrade, you know exactly what he called you.
Oh, of course, I do.
Very well.
Yeah.
I have no problem there.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, okay.
Go ahead.
I thought you also knew.
No, we do that now.
Good. I expected a visit from you, comrade,
Okay.
because you know exactly what's going on with me from last year.
Yeah, I heard you on the radio today. I had intention of giving you a call, but I got distracted. But now that you called tonight, you've reminded me. So I will arrange this week, God's willing, for sure.
You will arrange this week, God willing?
Yeah, maybe towards the latter half of this week, yeah.
Because I'm not satisfied with what Comrade Nanton and Comrade
I will bring both of them, okay? I'll bring both of them to see you. I'll come to see you. All right. That's my comrade from Bourne. Very strident individual.
Yeah, but PM, I mean, in the interest of time, we may not be able to deal with all the plans, but there's one particular one that I want to lay on the table, and that is the establishment of the port at the Marigot Fisheries Complex. I did some research and I understood that Marigot Fisheries Complex is actually an official port of entry, according to SRO 36 of 1999. What I think has to be done is to put the machinery in place to operationalize the port. Maybe now is not the best time to lay it on the table, especially with our resources scattered all over the place.
We'll have the discussions.
But we need to continue having
with
those kind of
the various
discussions.
stakeholders and so on.
Yeah.
What are your final words to your listening and viewing public?
Well, basically, I want to, first of all, thank you for inviting me here. I want to thank the listening public for staying with us. I mean, Dominica belongs to all of us, and we have to work together to develop our country. There are a number of good things that are happening for us. I mean, people are seeing us as number one in many spheres. I mean, you have major magazines in the US seeing us as one of the top destination to visit in 2020. We have some of the best dive sites in the world. Dominica, I mean, we have what it takes to move to the next level. But I think the people have to come together. They have to put the politics aside. When time for the campaign, we hit it and we hit it hard. Yeah. When the elections are over, we come together, do work to develop our country. Too many times we have people obstructing progress because of petty partisan politics. So we need to set that aside. Let's come together and let's develop our country.
I share your sentiments, and I believe in respect to Marigot. I've said many times publicly that Marigot has some of the brightest people in Dominica, industrious people, progressive people, and I think if we can get them together to focus on the development of Marigot, then not only Marigot will benefit, but the whole country will benefit. And I'm hoping that you will be able to take the lead on this and to utilize all of the human resources available to the Marigot people for the greater benefit of all the Marigot people. We've had a very good program tonight. I would like to say that we live in a democracy and everybody has a right to express himself within the provisions of the Constitution and the laws of the country. But we also have to respect other people's rights as citizens. And I want to say to people that, yes, I am the Prime Minister of this country, but I'm a citizen of this country, and I am subjected to the Constitution, the provision of the Constitution, and the laws of Dominica. And the same rights you have as a citizen, I have them as a citizen myself. I try my best to respect people's rights and so forth. And I would like to ask some people of the harassment which my family is subjected to. I wonder how many of you would like that to be, like yourselves, to be subjected to it. In the Merchants of Venice, Shylock said to his persecutors, if you cut me, do I not bleed? Which reminded them that he was a human being just like them. I am a peaceful person. I lived in Vegas as a young boy. I recognized that education was the key to my success, and I focused heavily on studying and doing well at school and making sure that the monies that my parent invested in me did not go to waste. So very early I recognized the importance of education, and I was a respectful student, a respectful person. I refer to everybody as yes sir or yes ma'am, irrespective of the age. I still do that today. And I am a peaceful person. I don't go looking for war, and if I see war, I run away from war and so on. But I have the ability to protect myself and to protect my family. And it is something that every one of us has a duty and a responsibility to. Each of us has a responsibility to our safety and the safety of our family. And I want to thank everybody who was sent me messages and called me and find out how I'm doing. I'm doing fine. I'm not fearful of anything. There's nothing in this world I'm fearful about. There's no individual I'm fearful about. There's no nation I'm fearful of. There's no principality I'm fearful of. You know, I'm just not a person of war. But those who believe that they can instill fear in me, you are seeking to instill fear in the wrong person. Try somebody else, not Roosevelt Skerrit, and so forth. But I shall remain peaceful. I pray to God that He continues to give me the strength and the courage to stay on the safe and narrow. But, you know, we always have to put people in our own position, in our own circumstance, and to see if I were to be subjected to what Roosevelt Skerrit and his family, just imagine what my two small children have to be subjected to every single day, and understand and appreciate the fact that I am still not yet angry. You know, but I pray to God for those who seek to, those who are harassing me, harassing my family. I pray to God that they will never in their lifetime be subjected to this. I pray that they'll always be surrounded by peace. I don't wish harm to anybody. I don't wish harm for any single person. I don't have enemies. I don't hate people. The Lord has placed me in this position to carry out a particular mandate on behalf of His people, and that's what I seek to do in the circumstances and the resources which the state has. At some point, somebody else will take over, and I shall carry on my life in my private capacity. But like everybody else, I have the same privileges the Constitution provides, the same rights the Constitution provides, and so forth. If you, as any person, somebody is harassing your life, what do? Don't you call the police? Or you go to your lawyer? So why can't I have the same protection that you have? Reflect and meditate upon this, especially those who are supporting individuals and those who themselves are engaged in this harassment or reverse Skerrit. You have children, you have brothers and sisters, you have families, you're also a human being. And ask yourself, if you're subjected to this same harassment, I don't hate people. Those who hate me, I pray for them. And those who don't like me, I pray for them. But what do you hate me for? What don't you like me? What have I done to you? Nothing. Simply because you believe that you want to be in this position, or you guys want to be in government, and the person you think that's preventing you from being there is Roosevelt Skerrit. I am from Dominica, I keep telling people. I was born in this country, and I shall remain in this country to continue my contribution to Dominica's development. And no matter where I decide to reside in this part of Dominica, I am a Dominican. And people have to respect that the same way I respect people's right to reside wherever they wish and to carry out the duties they wish. But don't believe ever you are frightening me. Never. People know me. I don't submit myself to blackmail or to any kind of thing. I am uncompromising on these issues. But don't believe that I'm living in fear or sleeping in fear. But do unto others as you like them do unto you. That's my last point to you. If we say that we are a Christian nation and we go to church on a regular basis and we read the Bible every single day, as many of us profess to do, then let us respect the principles and the admonitions and the teachings in the Holy Bible, which we all read and pray from. God bless you, my dear friends. This is yet another Anupale episode. This is 11 weeks I'm going. So I've been with you 10 weeks. I've been with you for 10 Sundays consecutively. And this is my commitment to engage in you, bringing the various leaders in the community to speak, as we had with Minister Blackwell and the Chief of Police and the Deputy Chief. And of course, Carissa Gregory Revere, who is all decked up like one of the great African kings and Ubutus. Good night, my friend. Love you, Dominica. God bless. Let us go to serve our country and our God. Thank you.
We are in the hurricane season. Here are some tips to keep your families and communities safe. Before a hurricane, ensure that you know your emergency shelters. Contact the Office of Disaster Management for information on shelters closest to you. Have disaster supplies on hand. Non-perishable canned food and water. Portable battery-operated radios. Flashlights and extra batteries, essential medicines, first aid kits, cash and bank cards. In the home, protect your windows. A low-cost approach is to put up plywood panels. Trim branches away from your home and cut all dead or weak branches on any trees on your property. Check into your home and auto insurance. Confirm that policies are valid and coverage is appropriate. Make arrangements for pets and livestock. Develop an emergency communication plan. Make sure that all family members know what to do. Teach family members how and when to turn off gas, electricity, and water. During a hurricane watch, listen to the radio or television for hurricane progress reports. Avoid open flames such as candles and kerosene lamps as a source of light. If power is lost, turn off major appliances to reduce power surge